Hi again, everybody. Bill Phillips here on a Wednesday. And if you live in the Ohio Valley or anywhere nearby, it is a beautiful, sensational Wednesday, November day, the day after Election Day. Hopefully, everybody got out and vote because, and I always tell you this, just go vote. Don't care who you vote for. Don't want to tell you why I vote for who I vote for, or anything like that. Just go out and vote. So hopefully you went out and voted and the results came back the way that you hoped. But if you got out and voted, they didn't, then you got a voice in it. So, anyways, hopefully you had a good election day yesterday. We have a big day on the 9-Minute Phill-Up today. We have Jamie Dent. You recognize her. She's been here before from the Juvenile Task Force of Jefferson County. And we have, I've heard the name Steve-O, Dave, David, Steve-Alicious, Cahootaville, or it's actually Dave Cahoot or Cahoot. Cahoot. What are we going with?
Cahoot.
Cahoot.
Yeah, my family would be happy to know it's pronounced correctly. Yes, Cahoot.
Cahoot. So, anyways, we're having some fun. We've been having some fun. What are we here for, and what are we going to be talking about with Dave and Jamie is the event coming up on November 12th at 7 Ranges Entertainment in Steubenville. And it is an event that is critically important for the Ohio Valley, for the youth of the Ohio Valley, for the parents of the Ohio Valley, as we bring people together and try and get some ideas working, try and do what's best for the youth of the community, for the parents of give everybody a helping hand. So, Jamie, I'm going to start with you. Tell us what the event is about on the 12th of November.
So the Juvenile Task Force has been going around this school year to each junior and senior high school with our speaker, Mr. Cahoot, and giving them a message that I will allow him to elaborate on in a little bit. But we've been going in and giving this message to the kids, and now we want to provide it for the adults in the county, because as we want to take care of the youth, we want to take care of the people that are taking care of our youth. So we are going to be putting this message on at 7 Ranges next Wednesday. And while the parents or any adult that can come are getting this special message, we are going to give an hour of free play at 7 Ranges along with pizza and refreshments, and that is all free for the kids while this is happening. And then we will be providing resources for the kids and the parents as the task force. Each agency will have business cards, pamphlets, and we can answer any questions that anybody has.
And how critically important is it for parents to get involved and be there and take the opportunity, take the time to find out what's going on, not only in their kids' lives, but the community as a whole, especially in Jefferson County. And you're in touch with the youth of Jefferson County as a probation officer in the Juvenile Task Force.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely important, even if you're not a parent per se. If you have interaction with youth, I think it's just important to see and hear messages and educate yourself of what's going on and bettering ourselves so that we can better them. I just think that parents need to be more aware of their own mental health as well, because if we're not doing it for ourselves, how do we expect our children and the children in the community to want to change theirs as well? So especially in juvenile court, being a parent, I mean, it's your responsibility to make sure that these kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They know the consequences, but also that they can open up and that you will hear them out just as much as vice versa.
Yeah. And one of the great things, I was just thinking about that when you were speaking, one of the great things for a parent to hear. My dad told me this, and he said, whenever you receive a compliment about your child, how well they behave they are, or they did X, Y, and Z very, very well. Man, it fills you up. As a parent, it really does fill you up. And, and this is an opportunity to maybe get those conversations going, get some of those compliments going. So, you feel good about what you're doing and give an opportunity to everybody to have that chance to grow and learn and make the community better, because that's the goal. Everybody wants the best community possible. And Dave Cahoot, now we were having some fun with his name before, because he came right in the door and just, he was hitting me with stuff. But he is the guest speaker on November 12th. Again, November 12th. It is at 7 Ranges Entertainment from 5:30 to 8:30. It's a free event. It's put on by the Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force along with 7 Ranges. And again, this should be a free hour of play, pizza, refreshments for the kids, bowling, all that good stuff. It's a great place. It really, if you haven't been there, take the time to go. Even if you just get the message but then have some fun, because it's a really great place to go. And the guest speaker is you like Dave or David?
David.
David. Okay. So David, I love the title on the information. Talk is cheap, the message isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your messaging, and when you talk about talk is cheap, message isn't. What is that getting to the heart of?
Well, I guess I'd have to explain what I used to do for a living, which was copier sales.
Okay.
Old enough that I sold typewriters. Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
Kid you not.
Mrs. Gregory.
Yeah.
If Mrs. Gregory could see me now with the
keyboard,
we would have. Where's home row, Bill? Home row. Get on the home. Stop looking at the keys, Bill. You have to look at the words to type them.
At least you got to stay in her class. I was asked to leave, but that's another conversation. The reality is, those years of sales, trade commission, I was up against very tough competition. I mean, we were a small local company. We sold a brand, Toshiba, at the time, which wasn't very popular back in the 80s because it was a Japanese manufacturer. So Xerox, IBM, they pretty much dominated the industry. But I told my boss and my fellow colleagues, I'm going to tell the truth. And they laughed, like, well, sometimes you got to fudge the truth a little bit, just, so you get your angle. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And of course, my boss felt the same way, but even he at times realized this industry can be brutal. I won't say what the industry was called, but it was not a very nice name. Our industry was called. Bottom line is we would undercut each other to get the deal. So as I progressed in that career, I realized, you know what? They're all talking about it, but they're not doing it. So fast forward, I left Valley in '99, started working for an organization called Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Okay. Yeah. Well versed.
Would have never left FCA. I always tell people, if you want your Christian self-esteem to take a hit, get fired by a Christian organization, because it messed with my head. Except
I would imagine.
I realized in order for another door to open, one had to close. And unlike our histories with you in December.
Oh, yeah. First job I had down in Wilmington, North Carolina, they walked in and they said, hey, everybody in the news department, have a good day.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Week before Christmas. My mom and my stepfather were coming down that next week. And I said, Mom, you don't have to come down. I'm not going to be on the show. We're not going to. We'll still come down. All my stepfather wanted to do is get some good. We were down in Wilmington, North Carolina. I just need to find some really good biscuits. That's all. It was just, you wanted to find that. So
I left the job, long story short, against my will, but knew that there's always a reason why doors open and close. From a spiritual standpoint, I believe that God had my back. I didn't know what that meant. My wife and I and our family, young family at the time, prayed and just said, whatever the next door's supposed to be. Went back to Valley for 2 years as a manager, and against my will, but because I was mandated from above and confirmed by my boss and his wife that they needed my help, which was kind of cool. Got to add some value. And then in 2006, we had a few donors who had been watching me. You made a comment about, or maybe the other gentleman that said, now these guys are starting to become sponsors for our radio station. These folks watched me for over 20 years and said, you know what, we believe in you. And they stroked very large checks. The one was for 50 grand, which I thought was a ton of money. And then the other guy said, if we sell this business, which it looks like we will, we'll probably donate about $250,000. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And they did. So we started TIC in 2006 with 300 grand in a bank, got a 501c3, because the advice from a couple of guys that also spoke in schools was not all schools will pay you. They can't afford to. So if you have the chance to get a donor or a sponsor with a 501c3, you can do a deduction for them. So that's how we started it. And the reason that we came up with Talk is Cheap is because talk is cheap. Don't tell me, show me. So like tomorrow, or Friday rather, today's Wednesday, yes?
Yes.
We will have two football teams that I serve, Bourbon High School and United Local, that are both in playoff games. If they need a pep rally on Friday from me, they're in trouble. So I did my team talk with United yesterday. I'll do Bournemouth tonight. And my thing is just to give these guys a word, a thought, a concept that they can run with for the week that will help them be better and their teammates improve. So we had to come up with a tagline. I had a pastor in Virginia Beach said, you know, can I be honest with you about that company name, Talk is Cheap? I said, sure. He goes, you want my New York Street Savvy? Or you want the pastoral? I said, New York Street Savvy. He goes, it's icky. I went, what's icky? He goes, the name's icky. I said, well, that's why we have a tagline. Talk is cheap at the messages. He goes, nah, it'll never work. Well, thankfully, even though I sat in this parking lot for about 20 minutes afterwards and thought, gee whiz, no one ever said it was a bad name. It's not about what he thinks.
No.
It's about what kids think.
Mm-hmm.
And a kid would be like, dude, why do you call your business Talk is Cheap? And we tell them, because if you're going to go do greatness, which is our word, standing in the presence of greatness, then today you need to go home and go do something that you don't do, that you've been asked to do for days, weeks, months, or years, and go do it because talk is cheap. So that's the long answer to your simple question. But you said we were going to try to break a record and do this under 9 minutes. So we're
we're done. It's all over.
Thank you again, everybody. Have a great day.
So again, so that's your backdrop. Now I was looking up some information here that what I saw was messaging to adults, spark a deeper awareness of their worth, instill greater confidence, ignite greatness within them. What will you do? What will you talk about on November 12th at 7 Ranges from 5:30 to 8:30? Make sure you get there. Kids can bowl, eat pizza, play some games. That'll all be covered for about an hour while David talks to the parents and all the adults that are there to find that greatness. How do you get from, okay, I'm listening to this guy, to I'm going to take his message and turn it into greatness?
Okay. So I have to go back again to what my business card says on the back. And I stole a line from Truett Cathy, Chick-fil-A guy that invented it.
All right.
It says that I'd rather build boys and girls than rebuild men and women. So
absolutely.
often when I'm doing assemblies or presentations with adults, that's the question. I thought your focus was primarily kids. And I go, yeah, it is. But then I ask with a show of hands, how many here are parents or have kids that they impact? And hands all around the room go up. And then I say, that's why I'm here, to impact you so you can impact your student, your child, whomever. But the reality is, I'd much rather talk to kids for one reason. Their minds aren't made up yet. Their hearts aren't solidly closed yet. So when we speak to the adults on that evening, first of all, I am one. Okay. I'm 62 years old. I got to marry my high school sweetheart, 40 years of marriage, now a parent of 2 that are both grown up, and a grandparent of 3.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a fun run.
Hey,
cool. And it really is true. You can actually hand them back and say, here, they're yours now.
That's what everybody tells me. You get to give them back.
So we are going to try to encourage the parent, the legal guardian. Come on, man, these kids can do better, and you got to raise the bar. I was at a assembly the other day, and I made a comment, and afterwards this kid came up to me and they said, I want to do better, but my parents won't let me do stuff. And I said, well, what do you mean by they won't let you do stuff? Like, they won't let me cut the grass. They won't let me help around the house. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, they don't think I do it right. I said, well, okay, maybe they need to show you how they would want you to do it. And they're like, no, they just rather do it themselves. And I thought to myself, I want to meet your parents.
They can come over to my house and cut the grass.
Well, and I'll explain to them, are you kidding me? Anything these kids try to do in the attempts to fulfill your wishes is a win. And, we train them up, and we raise them up to try to emulate what we've learned. And we, you and I are probably, what year did you graduate high school?
84.
Yeah, 81 grad. So Jamie's like a kid. You should be calling us Mr., by the way. But the reality is we grew up with responsibilities.
Absolutely.
And, if you wanted to go get a new bike, guess what you had to go do? Cut more grass or do whatever.
Absolutely.
So the parents on that evening, one, to encourage them. No one told you parenting would be easy, and it's not. And, it's little kids, little problems, big kids, big problems. But then the second part of it is, well, what are you doing to make sure that these kids have all the success they need to be successful in life, i.e. responsibility? Take away their phones at night. If a kid's going to bed at night with their phone, both of our children had their own rooms, not very big rooms. We live in a little ranch, but no televisions, no computers. And one kid said to me once, they're like, man, you must have been a horrible parent. I said, why don't you ask them that?
We're from the 80s.
Yeah, we're
from the
80s.
No TVs in the room, no phones, no.
But there still isn't, because, well, there's a TV now. We're allowed. But the reality is, I always told the kids, I'm not your friend. I'm your parent. We'll have time to be friends later. And our daughter's 37. Our son's 35. Did I get that right, honey? Yay. Not, by the way, honey's not Jamie. It's my bride who's sitting behind the camera. And they both said, thank God you held the line on us. We had one computer. It sat out in the family room where the screen faced out and we could see and make sure they were making good choices. But those are some of the things I just want to talk about. There's another piece to to that night, and that's teaching those adults in that room a concept called the love languages.
Okay.
There's 5.
All
It's
right.
not my concept.
Before we go down the love languages,
Yeah.
I want to get some comments that have come in. The mayor-elect, Ralph Petrella. Congratulations, Mayor-elect Ralph.
Congrats.
He's given the hand clap. I'm not good with emojis. Great event for kids and parents. Well done to all involved. And Jennifer checks in. This is awesome. So we're on the right track. We're on the right track again. Want to remind everybody, it's Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force along with 7 Rangers putting on this event 5:30 to 8:30, November 12th, free event. And there will be some refreshments, bowling, games that's covered for about an hour for the kids while the adults listen to Dave Cahoot, who is here sharing what he's going to talk about, his messaging throughout his career as a motivational speaker and someone that is looking to make the community better. Go on the 5 love languages.
Yeah, I think most don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If a couple's married, the couple love language, when they identify what that is, their love language, mine's words of affirmation.
Okay.
So that means when I clean the garage, when my bride comes home, she should run in the house and go, "Oh my gosh, Dave, that garage looks amazing." And I go, "Yeah, I know, huh? Isn't that something?"
That'll get you through a month.
Yeah, at least. Susie's is quality time.
Okay.
So I'm like, "What do you want to do?" And she's like, "This is good." I'm like, "Yeah, but we got to do something." She goes, "This is something. We're just hanging out." I'm like, "But shouldn't we?" So that, and our daughter's is gifts. And I think my son's is words of affirmation as well. But you'll find that the easiest way to determine your love language is what you personally do.
Okay.
If you notice, I've known you now for how many months? I'm always complimentary to everybody. I walk that room and always thank everyone for being there because I like to be thanked. Not here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So you'll do the love language that is your primary.
No, I think that's a great. So what are the 5?
Words of affirmation, physical touch, which seems to always get the guys excited, and then we explain, "No, man, that means holding a hand, putting an arm around them, just tap."
Yeah.
Words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service. What else, babe? You can talk. Gifts. That was Courtney's, and I don't. Words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time.
Quality time. Okay.
Yeah, you can see how well down I have them. Well memorized. I have them.
I noticed that words of affirmation came up 4 or 5 times.
Numerous
Everything
times.
else came up like once or twice.
Hence
So
my primary.
there you go.
By the way, cameras and microphones together, not so good.
Not so
Just a
good.
microphone and a live audience, I think I do okay. Yes.
You do amazing.
I have a lot of fun with it.
Oh.
Cameras freak me out.
Why?
And I don't know why, because
Steal
as
your soul?
a former videographer,
Is it
that was-
stealing your soul?
not at all. No, that's
It
all
might.
sealed and done. No, we're
That's
good.
what people talk about sometimes.
That's-
I feel like it's stealing my soul.
Yeah. Actually, if I'd have known I was on camera, I'd have wore black, but that's another conversation.
Well, if we're Dave, we're gonna give you a second to collect your thoughts. Jamie,
Okay. Wait.
why is it important to bring David in and give this opportunity to the adults, or give the opportunity to the kids to hear a different voice? They see you all the time, and I'm sure they're like, "This is wonderful. We get to see Jamie again." But at some point, why is it important to get another voice in there?
I mean, honestly, I think that having an outside perspective is always the best. But speaking from the task force perspective, it's just that since these kids see you all the time, they know that they know you, and the parents as well. Small town mentality here. Everybody knows everybody's business. Everybody knows something about something. There's always some kind of connection. You bring somebody like Dave in who doesn't know your district, who doesn't know your kids, who doesn't know your family. I just feel like people are more inept to listen to what they have to say. And obviously, he's more of a professional about this.
Yeah.
I feel like people are getting more advice from me than as a Dave comes in. It's like, oh, here's a platform.
Yeah.
So that would be what I think is important about bringing him in.
Do you find that with places that you go, places that you speak to, groups that you speak to, that it just helps elevate what that group is trying to do with the children or the young adults that they're trying to work with?
Well, short answer, yes. A longer answer are things I've been taught and read. One was that if you want to be an effective speaker, speak to the hurting. They're in every row.
Mm-hmm.
That stuck with me because I was one of those kids in high school who was hurting.
Okay.
Made bad choices in high school, very destructive. I've often asked my wife, who was not that kind of a kid, why would you have dated someone like me? And of course, the typical girl answer was, I thought I could change you. That didn't work out so well, but
I've talked to her a few times now. I didn't hear her voice. I didn't hear that voice.
I know. I try to do her voice.
See, but I always get that. My wife's always like, "That's what I sound like." Well, today apparently.
Right. The other thing is my speaking styles. Would you say it's different? I mean, you've now had 3 speakers, right?
Yes, you are way far different than our last 2 speakers,
right?
For sure. He has this way of. He just like, if I'm a kid, I wish that I would have had him, because I was one of those kids that I would have went in there and I would have ducked my head, put my hood up, and tried to sleep and be like, this guy, even though I needed that message more than anything. But he has this way of like just grabbing your attention multiple times during his presentation that, like, I sit in the back and I've been through 8 of these already, and I watch kids like disconnect, and then he throws something out there because it's real, and it grabs them, and it's amazing. And where our last 2 speakers were absolutely incredible and also made an impact, it's just the way he grabs the attention that makes it think like, okay, that he's talking about life.
Okay.
So yes.
And I wasn't fishing for that compliment, and I appreciate it greatly.
I had to make sure I had to give it to you.
Well, thank you though. But for me, it's
I got a little show going back and forth here. It's just
I've seen a lot of speakers. I've been blessed all the way back to Zig Ziglar and Charlie Tremendous Jones and some really incredible speakers, and they all spoke from the heart. And then you get those speakers and or teachers who are pretty much just following a script. And you're not getting me. Okay. I don't care how profound your notes are. So the first thing is I'll walk into an assembly area to speak, and they're like, so do you want the podium? I'm like, no, podiums scare me. And they look at me like, I don't even know what that means. And then the next question is, well, where do you want the mic? I'd like to hold it, or I'll wear one. And they're like, okay, why? I'm a walker. And the reason I'm a walker is because if I'm ADHD still at 62, what about the kid who's really ADDing on me? Or how about forget ADHD? They don't sleep well. Maybe they're raising their siblings. They haven't eaten for a couple of days. They haven't slept comfortably for a few days or whatever. I want that kid to connect. Belly button to belly button's the best way. So I walk the room, and it really does make the linear people uncomfortable because they're like, why are you moving? And the reason I'm moving is because you'll hear me either way. But for the ADHD kid, the hurting kid, the mad kid, the sad kid, the kid that's got the hoodie on trying to wear earplugs, I walk right up and go, hey, man, take the hoodie off and pull the earplugs out. And they look at me like, dude, you're talking to me while you're talking in front of the whole school? Yeah, because right now it's just you and me. And I might make them angry at that moment, but I'm not their friend. I'm there to impact that whole student body. So that's kind of what I was looking for is, Marcus and what was her name? Catherine. They're both incredible speakers, but they have their style. And I'm not trying to craft a style. I'm trying to craft an approach that will bridge a connection between me and that young
because
person.
if you were able to speak to that one child or young teenager or young adult, and you're willing to do it to them, that grabs everybody's attention. Oh, wait a minute. This guy's not pulling any punches. He's, and maybe they hear it from they hear that resonates with them to hear that message that you're trying to share with everybody.
Yeah, I think if we re-cued this video to the question that started this dialogue, you said, what will you do and say to impact the parents on that evening? My wife will be the first to tell you, often I'll get invited to go do speeches for adults. And I'm like, man. And she's like, why do you do that? When you get there, you'll love the room. And I remember getting to go to the Football Hall of Fame to speak to the Postal Workers of America. It was kind of crazy and cool at the same time.
Was Newman there? Was Newman there?
I don't know. He was not.
Did he have a bucket over his head?
No.
And let out of the room?
Did you get that, Jamie?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right. You guys are sharp.
I watched this woman.
It's a hip crowd, everybody. It's a hip crowd.
In the front rows, very dignified, very professional attire. And I watched her begin to cry.
Okay.
And I went, yes, ma'am. We have connected. My 5 words Third words, 2, don't panic, love, trust, self-respect, understanding, and forgiveness. Forever it was respect. Had a student call me out. I was still prepping my stuff. No one was in the room but a few students. And the kid goes, hey, mister, I don't agree with number 3. I'm like, hey, we got like 20 minutes before we start the presentation. And then, wait a minute.
It started right then?
Yeah, he's making an effort. I said, why don't you agree with respect? He goes, well, sir, before you can respect anyone else, you got to respect yourself. I got up, I walked over. We didn't even knuckle bump then. We still high-fived.
Yeah.
And I said, what's your name? And he told me his name, and I high-fived him. I said, I'm changing that because of you. Don't ever let anyone tell you just because you're a kid, you don't know something.
Oh, no.
So it's love, trust, self-respect, understanding, and forgiveness. Well, on the forgiveness piece, and I think you've watched this personally, because again, all the adults seem to want to congregate along the back of the walls in every room we've been in. They want
to stay disconnected.
Yeah, well, good luck.
I want to be just close enough where I can hear it.
Yeah.
But I want to be far enough away where he can't come and get me.
Yeah. So I go and invade their space. And when you see the tears start streaming, you know you've made a connection that's very deep. And I want that. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to be a speaker just to be a fluff guy. I always tell kids, I'm not here to blow up balloons and go, look, I made a bicycle. No, I'm not. We're not playing games. You guys get entertained enough. Adults, we get entertained enough. Yeah. It's time to go a little deeper. And for them on that evening that we'll have, which is when?
November 12th at 7 Ranges. It is the Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force putting on the show with 7 Ranges Entertainment. Not really a show, more of a gathering of ideas. Whatever you want to call it. It's free, and 5:30 to 8:30, community event. Everybody's welcome. If you're living in Steubenville and you think, well, it's just Steubenville because it's 7 Ranges, 7 Ranges, Steubenville. That's not the case. If you live in East Liverpool, if you live in St. Clairsville, you live in Wheeling, you live in Wellsburg, you live in Brilliant, you live in Mingo, wherever you live, if you see this, please do yourself a favor and go to the event on November 12th from 5:30 to 8:30 at 7 Ranges Entertainment. Even if you go and you just go and you're there and you think, well, this was nice. I get to see this place, try it out, heard some good words. Maybe you walk away and you go, okay. But then there's going to be that person that is impacted and the children impacted, and it's going to change things. Mm-hmm. Give yourself an opportunity. If you have any question about, okay, well, how can I get my message across to my child? Or maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I need to step up my game. This is an opportunity to step up the game. And you might go and you might not agree with everything. But at the same time, as you were just saying, David, that you're going to find that common ground. And all of a sudden, it's a conduit to working with your child, working with, maybe you have how many people have a child or a young teenager or somebody that they've ever coached, or maybe they're neighbors of, and they confide in you because they don't have that relationship with mom and dad. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for that person, someone they can trust. Maybe you find that thing that can help with that relationship at this meeting. And again, it's free. It's 3 hours. Worst thing that can happen, you don't find anything. But I'm pretty sure you're going to find a lot of things that you're going to really enjoy and you're going to be able to use. So November 12th, Jefferson County Task Force, Juvenile Task Force, 7 Ranges Entertainment, 5:30 to 8:30. Now, I did do some more research. I mean, I was looking on the chart here. Topics that you like: teen violence and bullying, suicide, leadership, attitude, and responsibility, MAD, SMASH program, character, self-esteem, building, purpose, motivation, encouragement, and alcohol awareness and drug awareness. What will you be focused on for this event, or will you touch on all of those topics when you speak to a group like this?
I would say one word encapsulates all of what you just read, which is choices. Okay. It's all about choices. Okay. Maybe I'm talking to a married couple that night who's not doing well. Yeah. Okay. Well, we tell married couples all the time, the first thing you need to do is stop competing and start completing. Keep dating. Did you stop dating? You probably stopped dating. You guys got along really well before the ring thing. Yeah. What changed? I touch on little subjects like that because they're not little subjects, and it's very impactful for their children. I used to play some videos. One of them was a video of a parent screaming, and the video is all focused on the child. And they're in their room with their head under their pillow trying to hide from it all because it's emotional abuse, truthfully. Yeah. But, we're not going to go deep into the weeds on any of those topics because obviously time is not our friend. And, we're trying to be sensitive to the listening audience, but just enough, just a little taste so folks can walk away and go, so what you're telling me is if I understood my child or my spouse's love language, for example, which clearly you didn't know too well when you did that radio show, but now you're telling me these are what they are. If I just work on that, just that. Now, I don't know where we're going to be allowed to land on spiritual stuff just because we've been in public schools for the most part. Obviously, that's a very big part of who I am, but it's not what I can do when I'm speaking in most public venues. But if you press me and say, hey, Kahoot, what's the most important thing to you in the whole world? Everyone would look at my wife like, your wife, right? No. Wait, what? No, God's first. Then my wife, then my kids, then my family, then you guys. And we were asked once, we got called out by a lady in an audience. She goes, well, how does that make your wife feel? That's how she sounded. And I said, why don't you ask my wife? Yeah. And Sue said, very secure, because I know if his relationship with God is right, our relationship will be right. So there's the horizontal and there's a vertical. So what I'll try to splice into that talk that night, I don't know. I always like the football piece. I don't know if you remember the 4 football players that got emotionally hijacked. You have this complete blank look on your face. Like, I don't remember. Dr. Jack Groppel. And the wild boar that was not there, but they thought was. Right. Okay. Well, that's the last time I turned to you for support on it. The reality is it makes the audience laugh because, dude, you're right. Even as a kid, I was always terrified to go down the basement because, quote, there was something down there. There was nothing down there. It was all in your head. So we'll just touch on subject matter quickly, but enough that maybe one of those is the hook that makes them say, hey, I need to have some suggested resources. Do you have any? And we always do. By the way, we don't sell any merch. We tried merch. We still do some stuff, but for the most part that night, we will offer to everybody at no cost to them because we have donors who pay the word SIPOG on a bracelet. Okay. And in case they forget what the word meant, standing in the presence of greatness. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of those kids will roll out going, that's that guy. He said that all the time. Okay. Yeah. It's really cool because I live in Boardman and that too is a small community. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, they go, hey, you're that greatness guy. I used to turn around to see who the heck they were talking to. And now I know it's me, but I'm okay with that because that means the message resonated and they still remember it. Yep, absolutely. Well, I think, going back in my own life, looking back on it, my best coaches are some of my coaches went on Little League. And, I had the opportunity to go and play collegiately and I still go back and I'm like, Coach Robinson, he was as good as they got. And so it's interesting you bring it up that way because you remember that impact. It never leaves you, and so here's my next question. That night, if people want to ask questions during your presentation, do they have the opportunity to do that, or how do you work that? Because I'm sure there's going to be people that are, there might be someone, over on the wall, like you're saying, I'd really like to ask a question, but I'm not putting my hand up. I'm not asking here, but maybe can I run over and get him before he walks out the door? Can I, well, how do you do that? I'll never leave until the last person who wants to speak to me gets that chance. Because number one, I'm not that important. We're all important. To turn to Jamie on this, I keep thinking he says an hour for my speech, and that's cool, or less. But we have 3 hours there. One of them's free play for an hour, so I don't know what the night looks like. I figure you'll be bowling for an hour. Yeah, I doubt that. my luck will throw my back. I'm so sorry the speaker can't talk tonight because he blew his back out. But I would tell you that if the questions are in line, but if we get weird stuff going on, which does happen, I get to go in some pretty weird spots. So I have a question, and you're like, no more questions after that. We'll wait until after. It just depends on the flow of the questions, to be truthful. I don't ever want a person to feel like they've been cut off. Absolutely. And I say this respectfully to the whole audience. There are some unique people out there. Oh, and absolutely. Perhaps we need to maybe have more quality time afterwards versus at that time during a presentation. Wasn't that a nice way to put that? Thank you. Jamie, as we get ready to, kind of wrap this up and get ready for. Are we at 9 minutes already? We're at 99 minutes. We're getting close. Let's see where we're at. 30. We're coming up on 35. No, we're over 35 minutes. Coming up on 36 minutes.
That's not bad at all.
I don't know what record you want to go for.
Well, wait a minute. Colleen checks in. Great idea. Awesome. So again, all positive feedback. And Jamie, what have you found to be the impact when you've had speakers come in? And now we're getting ready for another speaker with Dave Cahoot. You want to be in cahoots with Cahoot? So 7 ranges, November 12th, 5:30 to 8:30. Make sure you're there. Juvenile Task Force, parents, kids, everybody. What has the impact been for you, and how do you go about deciding what we want to do next to try and, lack of a better way to put it, cast a broader net, or bring more people into the circle of conversation?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is after every presentation, seeing what kid wants to speak to Mr. Cahoot after he talks. Because to me, that was reaching one kid, and that is our goal. Even if it's one kid out of all 9 presentations, it's totally worth it. So to watch them line up at the end and want to talk to him or shake his hand, that in itself is an impact. But I do get to frequent the schools. I go at least once every 2 weeks to each school, so I kind of talk to the staff and administration and see, like, how is this doing? Do you think this is the topic that we should be talking about? Do you think that anything changed? Did any of your students change? And I go from there and bring it back to the task force to see, like, do they want to keep on? Because the last 2 years we've kind of focused more on the mental health part of things, because we feel like that is the root of everything else that we're seeing issues with. And us as the court are seeing more mental health issues with these kids. But obviously, when you go into the schools, they're having trouble with vaping, and they're having trouble with kids coming to school and just quit being lazy. So I will gauge that after the presentation to see what kind of feedback comes back from the schools, mostly because honestly, that's where I get my most honest information, because these are the people that are seeing these kids day in and day out. They're communicating with the parents and getting the feedback.
I know I've asked you this question before. How much feedback do you get with the kids? Because you say, I talk to kids all the time, and kids, if they want to open up, if they're willing to talk, I would imagine they open up the book and go, well, this is what's going on.
Absolutely not. That's few and far between, but we have had
the
some
ones
kids
that do, I would imagine, tell you, they lay it out. Like, this is what's up.
Yeah, I mean, really, I had a kid from one of the schools. I didn't even ask him, like, hey, did you guys like that or whatever? And he just was like, hey, I think I found a new mentor in life. And I was like, huh? And he was like, your speaker, I think I found my new mentor for life. I'm going to look him up. And I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, like, I need to start making some changes. And I was like, okay. Awesome. So that right there is like, okay, we won.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. And hopefully we can keep that up with the parents.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a new kind of a new venture, I would imagine, to have a huge group with the parents and everything. So again, it's the Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force, November 12th. I always like to give the date and the time because we forget. 5:30 to 8:30 at 7 Ranges Entertainment. David Cahoot will be the guest speaker. And David, you've explained everything, not everything, obviously, but you've explained what you're going to be looking to do, how you're going to look to meet people. Give me, in a few minutes, give me your best sales pitch from back in the day to have people come out. Why is it important that they make that choice? All right, I've got to drive 15 minutes to get there. I'm going to have to maybe get something to eat on the road, or what? Why do I need to be there on November 12th?
It's a legacy. What legacy are you going to leave for your children or whomever you're overseeing that might be a student that's coming that night? My questions at the end, I talk about a young man who passed away from brain cancer at 17. First got cancer when he was in grade school, and he beat it. He was walking towards the youth group event when he was finally allowed to come back after this first cancer bout. And his next to him was walking his best bud, but he was bald too. And they went to different schools. So I asked Nick, what's with the do? And he said, if my best friend's going to be bald, so am I. So to think that a 14, 13-year-old kid would make such a public stance for a friend is a legacy that has never been forgotten. It's a story I promised I'd never stop telling after Chris passed away now 25 years ago from brain cancer. But it's a legacy for the parents. We're going to leave this place better than we found it. Oh yeah. Well, then what are you doing? Okay. Talk is cheap.
No.
Maybe some things at home have to change. Dinner time, maybe you can't do dinner time every night together. I get that. Life's crazy. But how about a couple times a week?
Yeah.
And no phones at the table?
Mhm.
If I owned a restaurant, no, sir. That'd not be a very popular restaurant because you'd walk in
You're
and go,
speaking my love language.
you'd be like, well, what are you doing? I need you to leave your phones here. For what? First of all, unless you're a physician waiting for your patient's water to break, you're not that important. And right now, we need you to enjoy this evening. And I'm sure people hearing me say that right now are like, who the Sam Hills he think he is? I'm a human being that realizes the only way I can connect with another human being is if I have your attention.
Absolutely.
And hey, my wife and I both dropped the ball. Okay. At times we'll have our phones at the table together. And I'm like, Sue, why are you on your phone? And she goes, why are you on your phone? And then we both go back on our phones and ignore each other. No, we turn the phones off. But just leave a legacy. Do you want to leave this world better than you found it? Then it starts now. I just want to be an encouragement to people. At the end of the day, I had somebody once say, so what's your end game here, kid? What are you up to? I said, well, I will give you my honest answer. Are you good? Oh, yeah. Audience of one. I was 18 years old when Christ changed my life. I didn't deserve it. I didn't get it. I thought I knew it. And then when it happened, I was like, how could I have not gotten this sooner? Once I got it, I thought, you know what? I'm going to tell as many people as I can before I drop dead that this matters and that he matters. And he's a difference maker. Now, can I say that in a public school? No. Do I get close to the line and do it anyway? Yes. Why? Because at the end of the day, I have to tell the
truth.
And when I do that with my audiences, they always say truth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we'll be coming from. And hey, I want to have fun,
Yeah.
And yes, I wouldn't mind bowling, but I'm telling you, it'd be that night that I throw the ball, strike, and then, hey, who can't get up off the floor? So
now I will say this: if you go to Seven Ranges, ask for the Bill Phillips ball slide. So
Bill Phillips ball slide.
They'll know what it means because we had to do sports challenges, and my knees are shot. There's no cartilage in the one knee, and the bowling team from St. Clairsville came to do a challenge with me. And I took a practice shot and they just, oh, that's bad. So they brought out this slide. It's for like little kids, 5 years, and I just went, Duh. So I knocked down 9. So you could beat it. Get the ball slide.
It just dawns on me when I worked for FCA. They're like, so dude, what was your sport of choice in high school? I said, foosball. They're like, no, seriously, what was your real sport? I'm like, foosball.
That's a real
sport.
So
if they have foosball tables there that night, I'll go play in a tornado.
I don't think they do.
I'm not sure if they do.
Well, folks, now it's time to get that
one.
foosball
We're going to have to get a foosball
Yeah.
table. I'll tell you what, you get some intense food.
I love
foosball's great.
Now we're going to talk about foosball for 20 minutes, but it was real.
My mom who watches the show, she loves to tune in. She lives in New Bern, North Carolina, the birthplace of Pepsi Cola.
Look what she just said on the notes. Stop talking about me.
We've actually had her on the show. We've actually called her at home, and she's like, "Why are you calling me?" I said, "You're going to be on the show."
That's cool. She didn't say anything though.
Oh, she did. She reviews movies for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kona, checking in. Unique person myself. I love that. Beautiful and just reacting to what you're saying.
Don't forget what your mom.
Agnostic, but if your God helps you do good for yourself and your community, God bless you. I love that. That's so it's
Did you remember what your mom was? You're telling about your mom.
Yeah, we were she tells me all the time. She goes, Bill, it's a 9-minute Phill-Up. And I said, yeah, I know it's a 9-minute Phill-Up. She goes, but you never go 9 minutes. And I said, well, I know. And she said, well, the other day I was listening to it. It went 35 minutes. And with 9 minutes, I had some stuff to do. And I said, well, did you listen to it? She said, yeah. I said, did you listen to all the things? She said, yeah. I said, did you laugh a little? She said, yeah, it was pretty funny. There was a couple of things that were pretty good. I said, she goes, yeah, but shouldn't you get, I said, it's a stream of consciousness, Mom. It's just kind of what is Bill's brain thinking about? So when I bring someone on to talk about their top, it can morph into anything. Like today, I don't know if you know this, but I think you're in cahoots with the donut people.
With the donut people?
Yeah, today is National Donut Day.
Oh, now you're gonna make me cry on public radio.
Yeah, because I need you to go and get some donuts for yourself.
You don't even know what I did on Monday.
What'd you do on
Monday? I
had to
take a kid to the airport at 5:30 in the morning.
Did you get donuts?
I'm like, dude, I'll pay for your hotel. I don't want to, because we don't want to spend time with you. I drive him up to Cleveland. I'm like, I know where I'm going. And I told my bride, she's like, don't do it. I got on 71, blew right by the turnpike, went to Strongsville, got off, hung up in the middle of town, the donut scene. I walked in at 10 after 6. I can't wait to tell the
It's
woman, I
horrendous.
would like a dozen of your sourdough donuts, the best sourdough donut I've ever had in my life. And I'm looking at the racks and I'm like, are the sourdough donuts in the back? She goes, we're out. We'll have another set coming out in about an hour and a half. And I just looked at her and said,
I'll wait.
From Youngstown. No, I couldn't wait. I had stuff to do, but I'm going back on Friday to pick them up. And I'm going to call the donuts and say, hey, man, I'm coming back in at 7:30. Are we going to be good then?
Yeah.
So that's when I'll celebrate National Donut.
There you go. There you go. So, I mean, like, but it's just kind of this stream of conscience, whatever comes up. But that's my mom. She's like, sometimes you don't have to go. And I said, well, Mom, I just it kind of winds down, whatever it winds down. I don't know.
Maybe she could change the title.
I think we all get a kick out of it because everybody says it to me. They're like, Bill, it's a 9-minute Phill-Up. You never go 9 minutes. I'm like, I know, but I enjoy. I like to talk a little bit. So, yeah,
Mike Pecchia got a great personality. You do.
Well, thank you.
So does Mike.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. Jamie, same question to you. Why does everybody need to come out on November 12th from 5:30 to 8:30 at 7 Ranges for the Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a parent myself. I work with the court. I go in the schools. But I think adults in general on a daily basis are saying how crazy this world is. And I think that the problem with adults is that we think that we don't have to keep learning and we don't have to keep having goals for ourselves and we don't have to get better. It's just, we just plateau. And our kids are seeing that because it's getting worse and worse. So I just think, like, how many times are we going to sit and say every day that this world is crazy and what kind of world am I bringing my kid into without making the change? So I just think it's important that, these parents, I mean, they reach out to me and say, what do I do about this? What do I do about that? We are providing this for free for you. Any topic you want, even after Kahoot talks, you want to talk about vaping, you want to talk about drug usage, you want to talk about suicide, anything, we have the resources there. So it's not just about coming and getting a message for mental health. It's realizing, like, there are agencies in this community that care outside of their agency, and that we just need to do better as adults. If you can, and this might be a shot at some, but if you can stand in a trunk and treat line for 20 minutes so your kid can get one piece of candy, come get a message that fills your heart and your soul and your mind to make you a better person.
And we'll give you candy.
And I might give you candy. If that'll get you there.
You'll get some pizza and refreshments from 7 Ranges. Yeah, there you go. I mean, so I don't think any of us could say it any better than that. That's a great way to put it. I mean, you can wait in line for that candy. How about waiting in line that something's going to feed you for your entire life?
So many people want the answers, but nobody's actually doing the work to get the answers.
I've got the answers, but now what do I do with them?
Right.
Because I didn't do the work to get there to figure out what I need to do. It's like stuff just pops in my head. It's that whole stream of consciousness. I talked about my algebra teacher, Mr. Bocas from high school. Tremendous individual. But he just, for whatever reason, the way he taught the class, I got it. When I didn't have him as my teacher, I was lost. I was like, okay, I'm not sure what's going on. But he was able to, and I'm still not, I could do a word problem here and there. I'm not, a mathematician at all. But on the weather quiz that we do in the morning or weather quiz, we get these, I always break it down scientifically, whether it actually needs to be broken down scientifically or not. So the other day it was, what's the midpoint or what's the date of the midpoint of fall as we get ready for winter? So I'm over there, I'm ciphering on my paper and everything. And I just remember, we were answering the question and I got it right. And and I said, hey, Mr. Bocas would be proud of me. And it's that connection. And I think that's exactly what you both have been saying all 50 minutes now. That's the connection we're trying on a 9-minute show. We're trying to make it just has to be one person. You can't do more than one person in terms of, you can make a contact with everybody, but if you can make that that one person, and it just multiplies down the line, hopefully, and that's the thing. You can, your talents lend you to the opportunity. I've made a connection with 30 people out of the 50 that are here. So, and then we keep moving along.
Yeah, see, you opened up a can of worms with the algebra thing, so I'll keep it short. Bottom line is, when you meet a teacher or a speaker or a mentor that cares about you, you'll resonate and respond. I kept saying it was John Maxwell. Now I don't even know who said the quote. authentically, but it's
Mhm.
because people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mhm.
We can all remember those people who
Yep.
took a vested interest, looked past some of our whatever, and saw the real thing, us. In my journaling, my first page, it says, remember, see kids how they'll be, not how they are.
Mhm.
So we have all had those persons that
Absolutely.
took the time to say, hey, I care about you. You know, and I still say this. I say it to my audiences every time. I love you. Now, I know that creeps you out because you don't know me,
Yeah.
but I don't mean it in the weird
Yeah.
way you might be thinking.
Yeah.
I genuinely love you, or I wouldn't be doing this for a living.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, the red button's flashing now. I think it's coming from my bosses. Obviously, somebody else needs this room. Red button's flashing. So we've got to get going. David Cahoot, look forward to the event on November 12th. If you can, please go to Seven Ranges, 5:30 to 8:30. It's put on by the Jefferson County Juvenile Task Force. It is a free event. You'll have an hour of gaming. You'll get some refreshments, some pizza, some drinks, and then you'll get some good messages as well. Jamie Dent, continue to do what you do for the community as an officer with the court and the Juvenile Task Force. It's you may not hear it from a lot of people, but it's critically important. So thank you for what you do and keep doing that. Everybody out there, you know the 2 rules, everyone. Have fun and try your best. That's all we can do. If we're having fun and we're trying our best, who's going to get mad at us? That's all we can do. Have fun and try your best. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.